Hello and welcome back to Leeds United. Today we welcome PSG to, well actually, the Leeds Community Stadium. I was about to say Ellen Road, but that's being refurbished. And then we go to West Ham. But first I'll just bring you all the bits and pieces news-wise that you need to get caught up on before we dive into those two games. By the way, still don't know exactly what the Leeds Community Stadium is meant to be. Haven't worked that one out. Certainly not Headingley Stadium because that's not got enough seats. I thought that might be what it was trying to represent, but nope. And we'll start the roundup with the ridiculousness that is Jose Labega. Not sure how to pronounce that E accent, but we'll just continue saying Labega for now. Now you can see the box on screen left. The career stats only does league, but if you look at the very bottom, you can see that he has 11 starts and 16 goals. He has 4 substitute appearances, so regardless of whether you include substitute appearances, he has more goals than games. And in fact, there is a box at the top that allows me to show you attacking statistics, and his goals per 90 is 1.32. He scores 1 1/3 goals per game. Average minutes per goal, 68 rounds down to. He is ridiculous. By the way, shout out to the club where he came from, Estoril Praia, who, inexplicably, are winning the Portuguese league right now. Very much upsetting the apple cart in Portugal. Benfica, Porto, Braga, Sporting, all left in the dust. They're 1 point ahead, but still. But as for ourselves, we are third, 3 points behind Manchester United, who just beat Chelsea 7-0 to take that lead, by the way. 7-0. And part of the reason why we're doing West Ham is because they're the team directly behind us. Liverpool got to play tomorrow. Just realised I wasn't actually at the PSG game, and the FA Cup draw happened in between then and now. Solskjaer has drawn us Kidderminster Harriers of the Vanarama North. Derby versus Manchester United. Wayne Rooney takes his Man United team to his former club, Derby, in an interesting matchup there. Man City getting an easy game, Chelsea getting an easy game as well. I should also just briefly, now that those games have been played and we are actually at the PSG game, Liverpool won their game, we are 4th in the league, West Ham are 5th, directly behind us, same points, worse goal difference, so important game to bring you. But Labego is our top scorer for both League and Champions League, 10 in the league, 6 in the Champions League. It's quite ridiculous. But we are 5 wins from 5. Manchester City, the only other team to do so. Monaco up there, Newcastle up there. Nice to see them, along with Nice. I had just been subtly influenced by their presence there in my choice of words. I actually went as Bayern Munich round out the current top 8. But there are 2 further teams on 10 points, including PSG. 3 games left to play, all things considered. Copenhagen, a surprising inclusion in the top half of this table. As things stand, Real Madrid and Barcelona are currently out of the knockouts. Both on 5 points. 6 points is the cutoff as things stand after 5 games. One has to assume their remaining 3 fixtures may be more favourable than their first 5, but surprising to see both of them down there. And because of that cutoff point, there's no way we can't make the knockouts now, but of course we want top 8 to avoid that first round. And the good news is, fitness-wise, no real complaints as things stand. And we do get to go into this game full strength. Karnaseci, Valeri, Undika, Milenkovic, Livramento, Phillips, Milinkovic-Savic, Szoboszlai, Pedro, Moukoko, and Labego is now my first choice because of that ridiculous goal-scoring record. Football's a fickle game, and suddenly Marko Milovanovic is second choice. He's also had injuries and a red card in one of the games recently, so he has been a little bit in and out as Joe Gomez comes into that lineup, which I didn't really show you there, but I'll show you it in a moment. Donnarumma, Kimpembe, Gomez, Marquinhos, Mendes, Kante, Frankie de Jong, Hakimi, Mbappe, Harry Kane, and Mason Mount. I didn't see that last one coming either. And also have Pulisic, by the way, just for their complete reading of Chelsea. But unsurprisingly, quite a lot of that PSG team is still the PSG team, even now 6 seasons in. Marquinhos and Kimpembe are sort of 2 players that are younger than I think they are. 32 in-game and 33. So they're kind of both players I kind of feel like are late 20s in real life when they're actually mid-20s. Just because of how long they've been in the game already as top-class players. They sort of feel like they're older than they should be. Same with someone like Joe Gomez, who's been around for so many years and at a top club. It feels like he should be older than he is. But Milenkovic finds Dominic. That's not going to get to João Pedro, but he will get the ball twice, inexplicably, but Donnarumma saves. Now, PSG have lined up with an incredibly annoying formation. You'd think my central midfielders would be able to exploit that space, where there is a complete lack. Unsurprisingly, actually, Calvin Phillips on a 7.0 there. He's the one with basically the run of the park because they have nobody in that space where Phillips is. He can basically just do what he wants. Meanwhile, my 2 central midfielders could press into their defensive midfielders and hopefully are disrupting them a little bit. But it is PSG. We'll take a point, happily. As Marseille 4-0 up at AEK Athens. Juventus are beating Manchester City. The other flawless record might be about to go. SMS. We did just beat Juventus 2-1. Mendes, Nisa winning to solidify their top 8 chances, and that's a fantastic goal from an underperforming Makoko. He's got 7 goals, but recent form has been iffy, is being polite. You may have just caught it actually in the inboxes. There was a news article saying he should be dropped from Germany's lineup because of his poor form. Well, that is a big goal for a big moment. Nice up to second, in fact, because Manchester City are losing. Newcastle must be losing as well. Real Madrid are beating Inter away from home. That's a big result for them right now. That's a close from Baldanzi. That's an interesting name. I mean, you're very competent. Empoli producing another player, by the looks of things. Empoli just quietly produce really solid players, consistently. Kind of like the Italian Ren. Barcelona must be drawing at the moment, but Real Madrid's still winning. I do kind of want to see these other results real quick, but it's not going to show me them. Substitutions will be made largely on fitness levels, as Milenkovic gets booked again. He does have 17 aggression. Didn't change him in the end. Stuck with him. Okay, 3 tired players, including 1 booked. Pedro's not having a great game, and Lebego's not having a good game. Might be a good idea to get Milovanovic some fitness as well, because he has been in and out of the team, as I said, so getting him 15 minutes here might be sensible. Szoboszlai will find no one because he just kicks it slightly too hard, and Malacia gets the loose ball, but only hoots it as far as Detlev Gottschling, who, I mean, this is very poor football for more people involved, apart from that bit. The amount of times possession changed hands there was dumb. Baldanzi with a bad touch. Detlev Gottschling had a bad touch. Dominic had a bad touch at the very beginning of all that, which is how they got the possession in the first place. But it all gets recycled back to him as we head towards full time here. 2-0 at home. It must be said, PSG's depth is not that good. Adam should get that, but he is sort of penned into a corner. Thankfully, he's found Ndicka relatively safely, who's running with it. And then, okay, well, that worked out. What is Detlev Gottschling doing there? I do sometimes wonder if poor ratings for fullbacks is because of stuff like that. Mbappe scores, he's still on the pitch. That poor pass from Gottschling, I do wonder if that happens quite a lot in the engine. And obviously I just don't see it that often. Because the fullbacks, unless they get an assist, or a goal even, often run out of these games on sort of 6.4, 6.5, 6.6 as these two are right now. Both of them have been subbed on, of course, but Szoboszlai, oh, that's a curious ball. I mean, Nketiah's, I don't know how he doesn't have it. It finds Malacia and Mbappe. Pulisic, come on, Karnasecchi, make a save, will you, lad? Thank you. Okay, cool. Immediate corner. 93 minutes on a 94-minute timer. Pass and Daka score for Newcastle. They are beating Slavia Prague, and that's going to help their chances. That corner may have been less worrying than it probably was, because it's been punted out for a throw-in now, and it may have just been something that's backing onto an end-of-game highlight for some strange reason. Great challenge there. I'm marginally concerned that might have been a penalty, because I know what this match engine's like. Yeah, they scored 1 of 2 shots on target. Their XG was 1.36 despite only having 2 shots on target, which means they put a lot of good chances wide. Donnarumma made 3 saves, ended up on a 6.4. Karnasecchi made 1 save and got a 6.8. In terms of save ratio, Karnasecchi was worse and yet ended up with a better rating. Work that one out. Ajax beat Bayern Munich, that's a huge one. They're 6th, Hertha Berlin, relegated in real life, up to 7th. Benfica, 8th right now. Newcastle stay 4th. Nice up to 2nd is hilarious. Gattuso's Nice. Gattuso in charge of a team called Nice is quite funny. The final 2 games are Villarreal and Manchester City, actually, so they've got the points when they needed them, because I'm not quite sure they'll do particularly well in those last 2. Villarreal might be okay from them, but Real Madrid held on. They've rocketed up to 22nd. Copenhagen fall to 21st. Milan now out of the top 24. Okay, so interestingly, Chelsea and Liverpool just drew earlier in today's scheduling, which means should we win this game, we will temporarily go top. Man United yet to play this weekend and could still go top again. But despite resting players, Szoboszlai's not quite there, unfortunately, so I think I'm going to put Archie Gray in. We have suspensions to Valeri and Milinkovic-Savic, which apply for this match. Both of them would have been borderline for playing anyway. Just remembered I didn't actually rest them as much as the others, so that's why they're borderline to begin with, because I knew they couldn't play. Dominic is going to have to be on the bench just by virtue of not really having that many personnel right now to play there. I'm just wondering, because of sharpness, actually, if Tyler Adams should start in a game like this, where it really matters. Archie Gray's sharpness isn't superb. I'm not sure why. He has played a few games, maybe just not recently. I will also make the concessions in positions where the personnel change doesn't really affect things too much, like Gottschling at right back, for instance, and also Milovanovic up front. Lebego didn't have a good game last time out. In fact, it's been a few matches since he's had a stellar performance, so maybe it's time just to give him a little bit of a wake-up call now that Milovanovic is back and fit. Because he may have just been resting on his laurels a little bit, because whilst he was in good form, he didn't really have a challenge because of the lack of personnel to go in there. But Newell, Zuma, Dest at right back, Angelino at left back, Brennan Johnson, Vlasic up front is a what? What's up with Henrique? Apparently Vlasic is their striker. 15 starts this season. 7 goals, 3 assists. He's not been doing too badly, in fairness. But with Newell in goal as well, that's a cross-universe reuniting, I think, actually, between Newell and Henrique Araujo, who I think I may have both had in a team once upon a time, as Charlie Patino's just got through there and smacked that in. They've given him the number 7. I knew they acquired him, but I didn't realise he was that good in game now. I mean, obviously it's awarded. He was miles onside. It's his first goal of the season, because of course it is. It's December, worth saying. So, naturally, that's his first goal of the season. Welcome to Football Manager, in case you didn't know that by now. People watching this who don't play the game, yeah, that's a thing that happens all of the time. Breaks the offside trap, smashes it in. Wonderful volley. Of course that's his first goal. Why wouldn't it be? James Ward-Prowse with the... Sorry, does he like the number 2? Why have they given him number 2? Is that his number at Southampton? Milovanovic puts that forward to Makoko, who's gone for it. Good save by Newell. They'll know each other from Bundesliga. Ward-Prowse... Actually, Ward-Prowse must be getting on a little bit 6 years in. Dest... I mean, what? What is the pinball? Kicks it against our player, gets it straight back, although thankfully that cross went to literally nobody, although Aouar's run in the direction of the only player in the vicinity of the box that wasn't on his team. And now they've got the ball back, and this probably won't be an easy goal. Oh, he's hit the post. There was more nonsense that I just silently watched as I anticipated it going in, but thankfully it didn't. That must have been the most nonsensical 40 seconds of game time I've ever seen. Genuinely might be the worst match engine I've actually had to play. Genuinely. The amount of times I have to stop and just go, what just happened there is incredible. The funny thing is, in terms of pure physics of match engine, like the way the ball moves in general is wonderful. The actual pure physics of the engine, fantastic. It's just the underlying decision-making of the engine that is so poor. Just the way you get heavy touches for no obvious reason. The way the ball just smashes it, the way players just smash the ball against opponents for no concernable obvious... I mean, what is there? Brennan Johnson, what was that touch? What was the decision making on that touch right there? He just hit it relatively hard towards the byline. No teammate there. No logical reason for him to go in that direction. Adams, through to Milovanovic. It's not just your team. I highlighted it for the opponent there. Kyle Phillips recycles. That's Tyler Adams again. Phillips, where are we going with this? Our finds Gotchling out there. That's good movement, actually. And it's a corner. By the way, I do want to know how other people are scoring so many goals from corners when I'm doing exactly the same thing and we're not. Makoko tries to head it back in. That's a goal kick. It's an even game. They just happen to be winning. Milovanovic is on a 7.4 and he hasn't scored. How's he... What? Keen with a throw-in. Throws it to Pedro. Good movement so far. He's put it into the box. No one's there. What is Makoko's decision-making there? Ball's coming into the box. He's running away. Now he's getting into the box. Milenkovic. That's my central defender, by the way. What is he doing up there? I know I'm on attacking, but that shouldn't apply to the defenders. It explains why Fornals had space, because my fullback was up. But Milenkovic just, fair enough, clears it. That's just the match engine not really knowing what to do with a loose ball. The fact it went straight to an opponent as that. I've seen so many pinball highlights in this game. I've seen so many more than I normally do. Okay, cool, right. Highlight started with a deflected free kick. Where's this one going? As Newell hoofs it. Has to obviously land on the player, so it goes on Endika's head. Milenkovic finds Gotchling again. Now that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lay it off. Back to Milenkovic, though. Will I get to Aouar? Back to Gotchling. That 10 seconds is always entirely worthless. It's back to the same player it started with. Or Prowse, corner. João Pedro was the what? Sorry, penalty for what? For what? Asking VAR for clarification. I need clarification. I've literally not seen what the decision was about. Normally it says what the problem was. All I saw was João Pedro heading the ball clear. Whoever it is about to be punished ratings-wise, so I'm probably about to find out. I'm making 5 substitutions, and it's the entire front 5. Lebega on for a very poor Milovanovic, despite what the ratings say in the game. I have not seen him do anything remotely looking like a good shot on target. He smashed it at the goalkeeper twice, I think, and that's about it. In fact, actually, I think he smashed it at the crossbar once and smashed it at the goalkeeper the second time. That's the only 2 things I've seen him do in this game. Milenkovic, Adams, Dominic, Gotchling. That's found Rooney Bargi. He's got to put the ball in. The Bego's chipped it a Newell. Different strikers, same thing. You see the gentleman in the dark turquoise, I'm going to call it. That man's there to stop you from scoring. So I highly advise you aim either side of him. I wish I could demand more, but we could be about to score, which will change my shout. Keane kicks it at their player. Gray, heavy touch, gets away with that one. Keane, sort of heavy touch, gets away with it again. Milenkovic. I say I've changed the entire front 5, by the way. I put Adams back. Lebego's there. Lebego scores. I shouldn't doubt him, really. Gottschalk on 7.3 before the assist, not fully certain why either, but lovely ball in, lovely header by Lebega, who has pretty solid jumping reach and pretty solid heading attributes. Goes under the radar because he's such a good finisher, but sorry, his heading's not great, but his jumping reach is pretty solid. Don't know why I was about to make more changes. What I wanted to do was encourage. 2-1 down, now's the time to encourage. It's also worth noting, 1-0 down I encouraged, and Milovanovic was unhappy with that. I've never seen that before. The entire team was like, yeah, this is the right shout to be doing at this moment. Milovanovic couldn't care less. Part of the reason why I subbed him. Gottschalk and Milenkovic. I want a person who actually responds to being encouraged when we're losing. Rooney Bargi finds Gottschalk. Milenkovic. Worth saying, actually, Rooney Bargi's electric form just after we signed him. Not really carried into this year. Hasn't played as much because Mokoko's been fitter for longer. He's only scored once, and that was very recently. That was a fantastic attempt. Oh, the encourager's only just gone through in the game, apparently, but Dominic, I mean, that would have been great if he'd aimed at someone on our team. I love the fact they've had a penalty and we still have more XG than them. And yet we're losing. Rooney Bargi finds Gottschalk again, who has been booked in all this. Dominic runs to the byline, finds nowhere to go. Curious decision. Really, when you think about it? This might be a red card for Ndicka, maybe. I'm concerned where this is going. To Flock in the middle. Where's Pablo Fanal's? Someone tackle him, please. Can we? Carlos Secchi's ended that on a 6.3. I know he's conceded twice, but one was a penalty, so that shouldn't really affect his rating too much. I still don't know who gave away the penalty. And because of West Ham's goal difference, they don't go top. We drop to 5th. God, that is supremely congested up there. Watford at least on course not to being the worst team ever. Just one of those games. Unfortunately, one of those games always seems to be against West Ham, who ironically, having done them as a rebuild project recently on the channel, have turned into a bogey team for Leeds on this resummation of the game. By the way, shout out to beating Manchester City 4-1 away from home and then losing to Newcastle, Aston Villa and West Ham in the league. But yeah, that kind of sums things up. Beat PSG, lose to West Ham. But we'll pick things up in the spring period somewhere, and then we'll see you at the end of the season again. Must be said, apart from Manchester United, last 5 games, quite nice. Although, Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester City before that, not so much. Not really much else to talk about at this point in time. Actually, just realised, got through November without too many people, or really anybody, getting upset about playing time, which is a minor miracle. I like to call November Winevember in-game. I don't think I had a single person complain about playing time. Backup goalkeeper got annoyed in, early October, and I promised him cup games, and he's had them, so hopefully he'll be alright. Nobody in the particularly whiny period of time. So, curious. But yeah, no real news to speak of. So I will see you after the January transfer window. Well, I'm not anticipating much movement, but if we lose someone, then obviously we'll have to replace someone, but I'm not actively trying to sell anyone at this stage. So I'll see you for what is probably likely going to be a Champions League knockout game and an Associated League game, either side of that. So if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, ciao.